Hi, my name is Leasia and welcome back to my channel, and these are my April books. It is mid-May, so not too bad. I'm a little bit cold, it should be warmer, but it is what it is. Anyway, so we have 4 books from April and yeah, some interesting ones. Let's get through it, starting with the first book that I finished was The Employee by Olga Ravn. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So this is an interesting concept. So basically it's a sci-fi story, and you're reading like interviews, but you're only reading the answer side. So the interviewer, whatever they ask or whatever they say is not. So you only read the exact answer that came in from the person being interviewed, and there's like a lot of different people being interviewed, the employees for a certain big corporation, sci-fi in the future, and they're like being in a sort of testing environment or something like that. I think they are on a spaceship now. I don't fully remember anymore. I'm pretty sure, but anyway, so basically there isn't like a sort of plot from start to finish, but by reading what these people being interviewed that are in this spaceship, you like start to get like an idea of what is happening, and something bad happens, of course, some bigger thing, and then you start to you see how these different people react to that through their interviews. And also very interesting, so sometimes the person being interviewed would like ask a question to the interviewer, then again you never read what the interviewer is saying, so then instead you would read what the person being interviewed reacts to the answer that they got to their question. Well, very interesting concept. I kind of enjoyed that a lot. And then we one of the bigger themes in this one is because there is like humans being interviewed, and then also androids or humanoids they're called in this story, and it's about the different types of reactions. So humanoids would sometimes like say they know that humans don't always feel comfortable with them around and things and stuff like that. It's about how would it be to work with people that look at humans but are not humans, and you know about that and things like that. So kind of exploring that end of things. So it's a very short read, very interesting, but also it was extremely cryptic, maybe a slightly bit too much. You can sort of figure out what is happening or what's going on, but also we can't figure out too much because it's very, very cryptic. So I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars. It's nothing bad, but it I just wish actually I got more. So yeah, in a sense, a good critic in a way. But anyway, that was The Employees by Olga Ravn. And book number 2, oh gosh, was Under the Whisper Indoor by TJ Klune. So this did not work for me. Oh my god, where do I even begin? I did not like this book. Let's start there. And if you did like it, sorry, I just didn't. This book is, if you can think of all the tropes and all the cliches existing in any literary form, you will find it in this book. It's basically reading cliches from start to finish, and I hated it. It was so bad. So story-wise, we have Wallace Price, an asshole, I think in a law firm. Yeah, he's a lawyer, and he's like one of the big O's, even the founders or something like that, or partners or what they're called. And basically he dies. And that's not a spoiler, that's literally written in a blur. And then it's about how his ghost is moving on, or trying to move on, or is he moving on, that kind of story. And there's like alive people that have like special affinity for that, and they were like recruited to work and help with ghosts that have trouble moving on. And for example, so we have May, she's called a Reaper, so she can see ghosts and talk to ghosts and also touch ghosts. So she's basically responsible for collecting these ghosts and getting them to the place where they then can like get to terms with what happened, that they're dead now, and then move on. There's apparently a door, and then if they walk through that door, or float rather, because it's up in the ceiling, then they are on the other side. So basically the story of Wallace Price is she collects him, and then there is the I don't remember now what his job is called. So she's a reaper, but there's like the main guy that's supposed to help them move on, and his name is Hugo. And so Wallace meets Hugo, and like the most cliche kind of like small jabs that people do between each other. Every single jab that you see a mile coming is coming. And obviously they explain to Wallace that if he leaves this place, if he runs away, he will just dissolve, and he does it anyway, obviously, because we're tropey and we need to be funny. And I don't know, and like I ask myself, who is this written for? Because it's written extremely childish, which is not a problem. I love reading children's books. We have a children's book in the collection today. But it's written extremely childish, but it has themes of depression and suicide. And there's even a content warning in the book itself at the very beginning for suicide. Because yes, they discuss suicide, they discuss that like some people, consider doing suicide basically. And stuff like that. So, but I don't even know how much more I can say. And then there's this one time, it's not really a spoiler, but a small thing, there comes this like tarot card spiritual lady, clearly over exaggerated, and she's like the most tropey fake card reading personality that you know from everywhere, and she's not like even a tiny bit different. There's nothing new in this book. There's only tropes. You see everything a mile coming, the romance. And it has nothing to do, I'm just gonna now say it, it's a gay romance. It has nothing to do that it's a gay romance. I like romances, regardless who's involved. But this was so bad and so far-fetched, I did not believe, especially in the beginning. Later on it made more sense as these people spent more time with each other. But in the beginning, it was so not natural. It just felt so wrong, came out of left field, nowhere. And at the same time, even though it came out of left field, I mean that they didn't work. But I could tell that that's where it's going from the beginning. So it wasn't a surprise per se. I knew this was coming, but I knew this was coming. I knew it was gonna be bad, and it was bad. And sorry, I didn't enjoy anything about this. It was just. And I kept reading and reading it. I should have DNF'd it, but I kept it because I was like thinking maybe it gets better at some point. But no, also it was a fast read, it was an easy read, like no special prose. But no, like this is the book of tropes, basically. If you enjoyed that, maybe you enjoyed it. So yeah, 1 star. Sorry. And then comes I read Grendel by John Gardner. So this is if you know Beowulf, like one of these epic English, is it folklore? I guess, yeah. So sort of. It's also for those who know, J.R.R. Tolkien was a real big fan of Beowulf, and he based some of his names even on names in Beowulf and things like that. But anyway, so Grendel is the monster in Beowulf. So now we have a story from Grendel's perspective. From the monster. And so one thing that I noticed, like somehow from time to time the language, the prose was weird to me, like I had difficulty understanding it even though I understood the English words. So that was one thing that like just took me out from time to time. Then it was fine for like several chapters, and then suddenly it was weird again. I can't really put my finger on what that was. And otherwise, basically, so yeah, we are with Grendel, and we are like deeply in his POE and in his thoughts. We know everything that he thinks and considers, and his worldview and his experiences, and so basically, I thought this book was kind of meant to make you feel sorry for the monster. That well, if you know Beowulf, you know what happens. I don't want to say it just in case, but. I did not feel sorry, because he's like, yeah, it's just nature that I should eat humans from time to time. I need to make sure they don't overpopulate. And I don't know, he was just so fine with that I'm like, okay. But like, so not even considering that maybe he tried to be their friend, or like in the beginning, like when they almost first time meet him very soon, they immediately attack him. At that point I felt sorry for him. It's like, it's not his fault. But then, like, reading on and on and on, and he was just like, yeah, this is my right, I'm the monster, I'm supposed to eat them. And I was like, okay, well then, yeah, then obviously we have to fight you. I don't know, it just I guess I had the wrong expectation a little bit, so that was interesting. Another thing that was really interesting that I really enjoyed, so at one point, like, he was like planning to attack, and then there was I think it was a violin. Was it violin? I think so. Some instrument player. I think it was the violin, but don't quote me on that. And he was so enraptured by the music, like it took him completely out. He abandoned his plan. He just sat there and listened the whole evening while this person was playing, and they like considered them an angel or something like that. And like many times after that, Grendel just went back just to listen to music, and that was very interesting. So that's what I like. That's when I like started to think, oh, maybe now he's changing his ways, and like he's gonna try to reconcile, but not really. So yeah. So overall, interesting read. Not exactly what I expected. I think I also gave this one a 3.5 stars. So not a bad read per se. Some, like I said, little difficulty with the language, and a little bit like I didn't see the point from seeing Grendel's point of view. He was watching them a lot, he was just there, but he like intentionally tortured certain persons. He intentionally, and according to him, in all his rights, ate human beings, and that was perfectly fine apparently. And I was just like, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna take your side, Grendel, I'm sorry. So that was Grendel by John Gardner, but cool read, but yeah, not fully for me. And then number 4, last book of April, was The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I think the cartoon is probably more known than the book. I didn't know it was a book. If to be now I've known it for a couple of years, but like when I was younger, I didn't know that this was based on a book, or the cartoon was based on this book. And so now finally I read this book. Obviously children's story, loved it. Like I said, if it's children's story and it's targeted at children, it's meant for children, it works. This was so good. So if you're not a cartoon, if you like the cartoon, you will love this book. It's practically the same. It's practically like reading the script. There is so much that is the exact same. It was a very, very faithful adaptation. There are a few new things though that I really enjoyed, and that was also nice, like to see like what is the same, what is different. So one thing that was different to me that I kind of felt is because we are in the POV of the last unicorn, like you hear her thoughts more, and obviously you can do that in a different medium other than books. And here she felt colder to me, like a little less detached, a little less unhumane, if you will. You know, like in these cartoons, like even if it's an animal or not a creature, they're often like humanized, and so we can like relate to them. But she felt more otherworldly here, and more detached, and like really like she's almost like a god. Not that's the wrong word, but you know, higher than humans, if you will, and things like that, and definitely higher than horses. She's once called a horse, and she's really pissed by that, which is really cool, which makes sense. She's not a horse, she's a unicorn. And then otherwise, I mean, the story, for those who don't know, so it's about a unicorn, and she's suddenly hearing rumors that there are no more unicorns, but she's there, and she then starts to like be interested. Okay, where are the other unicorns? She's like, I don't believe this. So she just travels around a little bit, but then she also doesn't meet any unicorns. And then basically this is how the adventures start. And then like she gets into trouble. Like there's adventures. She meets a magician at some point. Schmendrick. Schmendrick is also fairly different. Not. He's still the same like personality, but he has a different arc in the book, if that makes sense. So how much do I want to say? So in the book, basically he has, I don't think this is a spoiler, but he has more backstory, and in his backstory is like something like because he's like not a great magician. Like he has slightly trouble to calling forth his magic. I don't think that's a spoiler. And in the book, this is taken even more as a backstory to him. And he has like this prophecy apparently that his master gave him that when the time comes when he will like truly come into his magic, that's when he will stop being immortal, because he's immortal in this book. And he's actually many years old, even though he looks just like a regular adult. And that's because this prophecy had not yet come through. And when that happens, then apparently he would start aging again. That was a very cool, like interesting little tidbit that's left out in the cartoon adaptation. There's another one when we come close towards a certain castle that we need to eventually go to. If you know, you know. I don't want to spoil it. And before that, in the book we have also a village section before that castle, and we are dealing with the people of the village that are like the subjects of the castle's king, so to speak. And so we see like their point of view, there's curse and things like that. So there's a little bit more at play. But on the grand scheme of things, it's very faithful adaptation of the cartoon ones. And reading this was just a blast and getting a little bit of new extra things. And yeah, 5 stars for me. I really enjoyed it. And that's it. So these were, oops, wait, no, this way around. These were my 4 books for April 2026. Ta-da! And yeah, that's all. I have nothing more to say. I have short hair. But other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Do not forget that it's very important to also think of yourself, not just others. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, morning, evening, wherever you are. Bye bye. See ya.